Right now, the votes in Kentucky are being tallied, and the polls in the bluegrass state closed about 30 minutes ago. And now we are also waiting for Oregon. Voters in Oregon have about 3.5 hours left to get their mail ballots in. And the New York Times, better look out. Donald Trump's lawyers are zeroing in on them because Trump is demanding that the New York Times retract a front-page story about Trump's alleged behavior around women. And one of the women at the center of that circle agrees the article is junk. Roanne Brewer-Lane is demanding an apology from one of the reporters. He says he lied to her. Former model and Donald Trump's ex-girlfriend, Roanne Brewer-Lane, goes on the record. Good evening.
Good evening, Greta. How are you?
I'm very well. So I understand Donald Trump has phoned you. I think phoned you today?
He did indeed. He did.
And what did he say?
Well, he called to thank me, essentially, for the support, for standing up for myself, and he was very complimentary and very supportive, and thanked me for supporting him, and he supported me, and understanding that there's a frustration involved with when you're relating to the Times, and he just called to say thank you, and you know that he understands where I'm coming from, and that he's glad that I spoke out about it. So it was nice. It was nice to hear his voice.
When is the last time you'd ever spoken to him?
The last time I spoke to Donald Trump was in 1991. So again, it was nice to hear his voice. Yeah, I know.
It's been a long time. So I assume you know his voice, that it was Donald Trump, right?
Absolutely. I answered my cell phone. I'm actually not surprised that he called. It just, what it does is reiterate to me what I was saying all along. This is the kind of guy he is. He called me personally, and I saw a phone number from New York. I said, hello. He said, Roanne. And I said, this is. And he says, Donald. And I said, hi, Donald. He says, thank you very much for he said, I wanted to see how you are. And, you know, it was nice. It was a very nice conversation. About 15-minute conversation I had.
Let me ask you about the conversation with the New York Times. Were you interviewed by them in person?
I was interviewed for quite a long time by phone by Michael. The first time around, I spent an hour and a half on the phone with him, and the second time, about 40 minutes. I was also photographed. They flew down and photographed me. So I think where we're going with this is that I had a rapport with the gentleman. I trusted them. I, as we know, had asked them several times if the, piece was what I expected it to be. Were they after some kind of a weird spin on it? No. Was it going to be a hit piece? Point blank, asked them. No. I was promised, and what happened was what we saw, that it was absolutely a hit piece. They lied to me, and I feel like I was being used as a pawn. This is what my problem is.
Do you know if, lots of times, or not lots of times, but some reporters will record a conversation, interview, and they'll say, do you mind if I record this? Do you know if your interview was recorded or not?
I hope so. I hope so. I feel like I've done a lot of interviews and a lot of things lately, so I can't say 100%, but you would think that they had, and I believe that they did. So, yeah. And the second time around, when I spoke to Michael Friday before it was printed, I'm not sure that was. And that was the time that bothered me the most, because he kept going over and over the bathing suit scene, which is now a scene. It was really just how I met Donald. It was never a scene. But I felt, I was actually warned. I was actually warned when I told people that I was doing the Times and that it was pertaining to Donald, that there's a possibility that they may not put such a nice spin on it. And I actually told people that that's impossible, because that's not the kind of story I had to tell. And see what happened.
I understand that you want an apology. Donald has threatened to sue. Do you have any intention about suing at all, or do you think you'll get an apology?
Well, I think Donald is definitely entitled to some sort of retraction or apology as far as the article. That's my opinion, because, if any of the other girls are in the situation I am, it's all lies. My apology I would like from Michael. Again, I think that he knows that he told me time and time again that it was going to be the story that I was telling him, and it absolutely wasn't. And there's no way that he doesn't know that. If they do have a
go ahead.
I was going to say, if they do have a recording of it, it'll enlighten a lot of people as to what I actually said.
Well, it certainly would clear up a lot of things that they have recorded. Reporters don't always record things, but that would certainly make it, it would certainly clear things up. Roanne, thank you very much for joining us.